Hey y'all, Grandma Rose here. I am back from the party this morning. We had my knitting and crochet club had their Christmas party this morning, and I gave a gift that I want to show you how I made. Now, I recorded a video yesterday. As it was yesterday, at the very end of the video, I was going to show you how to make this bracelet that I made to give for a gift at this party. And I waited too late, and the light changed terribly because it was late in the afternoon. And by the time I was finished with what I was doing, it was close to sunset. It wasn't good. So I'm going to do it again, and I have a little bit more time today. And if I don't finish in time, I'll finish tomorrow. Maybe the light will be better. But let me get with it. Let me show you what I'm doing and give you at least a start on what I'm doing. I'll show you how to start, and I'll show you how to finish. And I'll show you what the finished product looks like because I have a couple of these already finished. Give you some links, and hopefully you can work from there. But I think the hardest part of it is the starting and the finishing. The rest of it is monotonous. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it works. It's okay. It's not hard. It's just one of those things. Yeah, let me take that back. It is not hard at all. This is really so easy. It's like something that you might have been taught if you went to summer camp and you learned how to make lanyards. It's about that easy. It's something super simple. But people are making them, and they're making pretty good money on them if they're selling them on Etsy. And I've seen them all over the place. So let me show you. I've talked enough about it. Let's get on with it. And let me show you how to do it. Hey, y'all. Okay, I am back. Let me show you what I'm doing. I'm going to make one of these beaded bracelets. Now, I've got two examples of this. I'm going to show you how to start. There are two different ways to make it. And then I will give you the link that I found that showed me how to make it. And then you can decide which way you like best. Now, the link that I followed made a bracelet like this. Move my needle out of the way and the thread. Okay, on the link that I followed, you start with a piece of leather cord. It doesn't have to be leather. It could be cotton or linen or whatever you want it to be. I suppose you could use lanyard plastic if you wanted to. The way this starts, it starts with the button at the top. And you do the button, and then you tie a knot under the button, and then you finish at the end with knots like this. And you can make as many or as few as you want. If you know exactly the size you're going to make, you can just leave one. Or if you don't know, you can make it where it'll fit different sizes. For instance, if you're going to a party like I did this morning, you might want to make where you didn't know who was going to get the gift. Let's say that. You can make it different sizes, so if somebody is larger, they can use that size and it'll still fit them. But anyway, let me show you what I've done. Show you how to start this way, and then I'll show you how I'm going to start. To start this way, you find the end of the cord, like that, and you bring it down until you find there's the middle of it right there. And let's find that here's the button I'm going to use. I love this button. It looks like a mercury dime. Most of you are probably not old enough to remember mercury dimes, but I vaguely do. You know, it's not like I remember when they were being made, but I remember them being in circulation. Okay, so you put it through here, thread it to the top, all the way to the middle like that. Then you just tie an overhead knot. And then move it all the way up to the top. As close to the top as you can get it. You can do better than that. I could do better than that. But just for demonstration purposes, we're going to leave it at that. Now that's where you start. Now the next thing to do is you need to clip it onto a clipboard. because that's going to hold it where you can pull on it really tight. So there's really not a way to get this on here. If you try it to do it under this way, that doesn't work. Let me try this, see if I can get it to work. That doesn't work. And if you turn it around this way and pull it all the way up under the clip, then look how far down on that's going to start you. That's not going to work either. So what you can do, what I did figure out you can do, is take this wire. What do you call that on the clip? Whatever it is. You take that and then you can feed your button through that. And then pull it down this way. Look at that. There you go. Like that. See, this is just right. You can pull on it as hard as you want to and it's not going to come apart. And then you can work on it just fine. Okay, let me show you the other way. The way I like best. Okay. Now here's how I did it. I started off the loop at this end. And I ended up with the button. I like this look better. I think it looks neater. So let's go with this. This is how I'm going to show you how to do it. The stitch itself is just exactly the same, and you can decide which direction you want to go from. Now I've tied the overhand knot, and let's look at this. If you look at this knot, depending on how you look at it. So this way, with that loop going to the right, or you can turn it over that way, and it's got a different look with that loop going to the left. And it's not going to make a difference on the bracelet itself, so it's up to you which way you want to do it. So I'm going to flip it over this way. I like that look better. So clip it onto the top. This is just one of those heavy-duty paper clips. Folder clips, I guess. What do you call them? You know what I mean. Okay, there we go. Had a friend who used to say, "Oh, you know what I mean, Chili Bean." So there we go, and it's really tight. When you pull on it, it doesn't want to go anywhere. Now the next thing to do, let me tell you also, the length that I cut for this bracelet. This bracelet is going to fit, say, a woman or a young man that has about a 6-inch wrist. It's not right at the bend of the wrist, unless that's where you're going to wear it. But up here on the arm, where you're going to wear it, it's a 6-inch wrist. So I made this, and I cut this 27 inches long. Now the directions for this are going to be on the link that I'm going to give you, and that link will be down in the description below in the show more box. So the way we start, okay, before I do anything else, I keep stopping. Let me give you the materials that you're going to need. So before I get started, the materials you're going to need. First of all, you need a clipboard to hold this, or something really strong that's going to hold on it so you can tug on it and it's not going to pull loose. It's really hard to do it holding it in your hand, and I have tried. And I'm pretty good at crafting things, and it was still hard for me. So I would suggest doing it this way. Directions recommended you do it that way. So you need the leather or whatever cord you're going to use. You need beads. And I have put them in deeper cups, but I found it's easier to pick them up this way with the needle. And to do that, it's easier in a shallow cup. But it's up to you what you want to use to hold your beads. I'm using 2 different size beads. I'll show you why in a second. I've got 3mm beads, these little ones. Let me put this out so you can see it. 3mm beads like that. Oops, you can't see it. 3mm beads and 6mm beads. I'll show you why in a second. And you need thread. It feels like it's waxed. This is called beading cord. And it looks like a spool. And I've used some of this, and so it's about the size of a spool when it's full and when it's new. but it feels like it's wax. It's a little bit heavier than usual beading thread. And because of that, the beading needle that I was using the eye on it's too little for this. So I've been using, this is a tapestry needle. Can you see the size of the eye on that? Let me zoom in on that. Okay. I have one. Let me show you what the beading needle looks like. Compare that. So this is the tapestry needle. I can put that down. This is a beading needle. Compare the eye on these two. Okay. Tapestry needle. Turn that around in my hand. You see that eye? Can you see it right there? And the beading needle. You see the eye on that? Compare the two of them. Which one is easier to thread? Yeah, and this cord is a little bit heavier. Like I said, this cord is heavier than the regular beading thread that's used. So it's really hard to thread the beading needle with this thread. Well, I already have a needle threaded. A little short piece of thread just to demonstrate. When you do this, you actually are going to need a length of thread about 80 inches long. It's going to take a lot of thread. And it's easier to start with a full length that you're not going to have to rethread your needle. It's hard. It is hard to hide that thread in the middle of the work, to get it where it's not going to pull loose, where it looks professional, where it looks finished, it looks nice. So I just have a regular sewing thread right here that's threaded with this thread, and it's going to work. Because these beads have large eyes, not large eyes, but approximately 1 millimeter. Let me find the hole on it. Did I say eye? I meant they've got large holes and I can't find it. There it is. Here we go. Can you see that hole? There you go. You see the hole in there? So that's approximately 1 millimeter in diameter. And this needle that I'm using, look at this, goes in there easily. That's going to be fine. So that's going to be fine. The tapestry needle works fine too. But if you use a tapestry needle, you need to use the smallest one that you can find, because most of the beads, that's about the size of the eye or the hole that you're going to get. Now let me show you the next thing. Is there anything else? You need scissors. You're going to need a pair of scissors, and I think that's about it. Or you could use a pair of wire cutters. Wire cutters would work nice. The scissors are for cutting this if you need to at the end. And you may need to cut this thread also. You'll need a pair of scissors to cut your thread. So I'm going to just demonstrate how to do this with this short piece of thread. And then I'll finish this and I will come back to you and show you how to finish it. So I will change out my needle, use a longer piece of thread to finish it, and then I'll come back with you and show you what to do at the end. So let's get started. Let's do it with the needle over the thread and the knot on that side and see what happens. You see where the knot went? The knot went in the middle, which I think is better than it going on the outside. It's going to be easier to start this if you start this with the thread going over, with the needle pointing to the right side, the thread going over the cord and then looping through, so when you pull it, it puts the knot on the inside between these two cords. The next thing you do is you move your needle underneath the right side cord. So it's like that. Can you see that? It's hard to see with that loop sticking right there. I'm going to trim that off in a minute, but I'm going to leave that there for right now. Now the next thing you do, take one of these small beads. I only have two of these. I have one of these to start and one of these to finish. Okay. Put it through thread on the bead on the needle. Now you see where it's right there. I'm going to move it over to the middle between these two cords, just like that. When you hold it down, bring the needle back through over. So remember, it's on the bottom to begin with. Then you bring your thread over the cord like that and through these holes on the top of the bead. So you've gone through the bead 2 times. And you pull it taut. Then you bring all of this back underneath and you repeat. This time you're going to be a larger bead. So this is the 6mm bead. Thread the bead on, pull that up and let it fall between these two. Now I want you, do you see why I put the smaller bead at the beginning? That makes a V right there. And it just makes a more natural V if you have a smaller bead right there to begin with. You don't have to, but you would need to start back farther down. And then again, across over the top, pull it tight, but not so tight that the bead pops up. And I lift up these cords. Show you what I'm doing. I'm lifting up the cord and then just reaching under to pull that thread through. And I'm bringing it down at an angle like that, and putting on a new bead. Now what I generally do is like this. I'll come in here and I will find the bead, put it on the needle like that, and then just let it fall down. It's a little bit faster doing it that way. Then you lift up. Did you see what I did just then? Let me see what we had. So we lift it up. When we lift it up on the thread, the bead fell down like that. And I just lift it up a little bit on this right cord and put it back down again, and now it's between these 2 cords. See that now? And we're going to go back through here again, across the top. And as you work, you want to get the beads close together, but not so close that they crowd each other. Probably touching, but not crowded. You can tell the difference. When your first one may not be perfect. My first one was not perfect either. But every time you make one, it's better. Again, lift up on this, pass your thread back underneath, and did you see this? This loop here. I'll show you what it was like. It looked like this. See that loop in it? When you pull on the thread, you want that loop to pull taut on that, but not, you don't want it to cut into it. So pull on it till it's snug, just snug. And then again, I'm just reaching over and getting this bead. There we go. Come on, there we go. And it's okay when that happens. If the bead comes off, it comes off, put it back on. Lift up on it, hold it straight, and the bead falls down. Lift up on that, and it goes under. So it takes 2 hands to do this. Again, go across the top. And we're going to continue this until it's the length you want. And that's up to you what length you want. I know how many beads I need because I've made several of these. I needed 21 beads, 6mm size, to make a bracelet that fits somebody with a 6-inch wrist. So let me go sit down and finish this, and then I will be back and show you how to finish this. I've shown you exactly what needs to be done, and you repeat the same thing over and over and over. Put on the bead, hold the thread underneath and pull it back to the right side. Put on another bead. I'm going to do this last time, and then I'm going to go sit down. Put on another bead. To the middle, right to the middle. Right to the middle, just like that. See what I did? Any way you do it, you can hold it in your hand at this point. It's hard to hold it in your hand at the first few beads, but once you get a few beads on that, you can hold it like this. And it's easier to work with when you can finally get your hands on it. And then you put it through here. Drop it. underneath, put another bead on, and you're going to go under. It's going to be under and over and under and over until you've got all your beads on, and then I will show you how to finish. We'll be back. Okay, y'all, I have finished putting the last bead on. See this? Here's the small bead again at the end. Yeah, and I have a lot of thread left. I rethreaded my needle with a long length, and I was able to well, sort of graft. I threaded through the same beads several times, and didn't actually make a knot in there. Okay, now let me show you what I'm going to do here. So at this point, we've got the thread is over the top of this left cord right here. And I'm going to flip this cord over so I can work with it. Like that. And just thread through this bead again to the back of it. That. Now turn it back over. There's the top of it. Now at this point, leave a little bit of a loop of thread here underneath it. And I'm going to come over. I'm just going to make a knot through it. So come over that piece of cord. There's the loop on this other side, like that, and you can see it. See, there's the cord. There's the loop right under here. And I'm just going to drop my needle through there. Easier. And then pull on the thread. And then we're going to make a knot right there on that cross piece of thread at the edge of that bead. You see that? What I just did? I made a knot right around the loop right there. Now, before I finish, I'm not going to cut it off right there. I'm going to go ahead and bring this over the bead and back through here again. Don't want any loops there, so pull on the thread as you need to. I've got a little bit of a loop right there. So I'm just pulling on the thread to get rid of that the best I can. And then I'm going to flip it over again and do it one more time. So basically what you're doing is weaving the ends in place. And this time I'm going to cut it. There we go. I pulled it tight, and now I'm going to cut it. But careful, do not cut that thread under there. Do you see this thread right here? Right there? Do not cut that thread. You only want to cut the thread that's on the top. Be very careful not to do that. Let me tell you how I know. I've done it, of course. There we go. It was hard fix. I was able to fix it, but it was difficult. Fiddly, not difficult, just fiddly. Now, we're almost ready. So now we've got the beads finished. Now the next thing is the button. Now this is the same button that I took off before. There's the loop on the back of it. I'm going to put it on here like that and flip it over. So you can see there's the bail on the back of it. Now this cord right here, let me bring this down a little bit, center that better. So this right here, I'm going to thread through here. And this side, I'm going to have to hold this down because that's kind of tight right in there. See that? Bring this side through this over here. It worked fine. Now, we want it to be even. Except here so you can see. Want it to be even. Where when you pull on it, it's straight. See what's happening here? You see what it looks like on this side now? Now I'm going to make it just a little bit longer. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to match the placement of this knot. This knot here at the top, and I will cut that thread in a second. But you see this knot right here at the top is about that far from that bead. And I want that knot on this side to be the same thing. So I'm going to move this down just a little bit. Then I'm going to turn this around a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to bring this back around under here. So let's go around here and see if I'd wrap it around like this. Put my finger through this hole here and wrap it. I've got both of the cords over here on the left side. I'm going to wrap it around underneath, around my finger, and through this loop that I just made right there. Now let's see what happens. It's still not what I want it to look like. What are we going to do? How about if we put that back through here again? Ha 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 ha. I think that's getting more like it. What do you think? Look at that. See that? And what we've really done is we've made a slip knot. You see that? Which makes it adjustable. And so that's the way I'm going to do it. And you can do it any way you want to do it. But the idea is to make a slip knot. And adjust these cords to make them lie smooth. Put that one over here maybe. We want it to lie smooth and look neat. Now let's try that. How about that? That looks good. What do you think? See that? I like the way that looks. And where is the knot compared to the other side? So there's the knot here. And there's the knot there. And let's see what it looks like when we close it. I'm happy with the way that looks. Take this off. Now we have the bead here, the loop here. We're just going to close it like that. And now look how it looks. Now these pieces will need to be cut off, but I like the way, pulling this a little bit, adjust it a little bit, make it a little bit taller, a little bit. So I want the knots, these two knots, to be about the same distance away from the bead, or from the button. And I like the way that's looking. And you know, if you don't like the way it looks, this is a very loose knot at this point, and you can adjust it. You can pull on it to make the bead a little, the button a little bit farther away. You can do it tighter to make the button closer. It's up to you, and decide what size wrist this is going to fit. Now, if you are going to be giving this in person, that's how I would leave it, like that. Because it's so easy to adjust it. If it's too small for the person that you're giving it to, like I said, if you're giving it to somebody in person, if it's too small, all you have to do is take this off, undo this, and loosen the knot, and pull it out a little bit, and then tighten the knot back again. If it's too tight, if it's too big, you can do the same thing. You can loosen it, pull up the knot a little bit to pull it closer. So in other words, it's very, very adjustable. And it's going to look nice. Let's turn it over and see. So this is the way I gave the bracelet that I gave away this morning, with these two pieces attached. And as it turned out, the lady who got the bracelet had the smallest wrist of anybody in the room. And if I had made it larger, it wouldn't have fit her, and there would have been no way that I could have fixed it. So because I had left these this way, I was able to adjust it and then make it where it fit her perfectly. And she was really happy with it. I think you will be too. Oh, yeah, one other thing I wanted to say. When you're finished, one thing that you can do, and what I would do here, I've got these threads that need to be cut. I'm going to cut off the threads closely, and then I'm going to go, and I have some super glue that I'm going to take on a toothpick. I'm not going to put a whole drop of super glue on it, but I'm going to dip the toothpick into the super glue and just put a drop of super glue right on the knot. And that way that knot's going to come loose. And you can do the same thing up here at this side too. Where this knot was, I don't think you really need to as much on this side. But you can, right there along the thread where that along the cord. Let's see if I can move this where you can see it better. You see where these threads are right there? Come to the inside of it, right in here. And just a toothpick with a little bit of super glue on it, and glue on these threads so they're not going to pull loose. And you can do the same thing on the knots. You don't need to on this end because this knot is stable. It's not going anywhere. This knot right here, once you get it to the size you want it exactly, and it's going to fit perfectly, you could very well come in with a drop of super glue right in here, where the leather meets the leather, right in here, to hold it tight where this knot is not going to come loose. Otherwise, you don't have to. It's one of those things. But when you do cut it, when you finally do cut it to size, you want to leave a little bit of a tail. If you cut it right up next to it, you're just asking for those pieces of leather to pull back through to the other side. So give it a little bit of a tail, about like that, maybe 1/4 inch, and clip that off. And the person you're going to give this to is going to be really, really happy with it. Isn't that lovely? I love this bracelet. Bye, y'all. See you next time.